Welcome to the 2022 Dr. Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King virtual celebration. My name is Julie Smith-Galvin. I am the chair of the Wakefield Town Council. On behalf of all of my colleagues, I welcome you to this event. And I thank the Wakefield Human Rights Commission for putting this together, especially at a time where we could not all be together in person. The theme of this year's event is Our Lives Begin to End the Day We Become Silent About Things That Matter. And I know that we are going to hear from some extraordinary people and organizations in our community who really live that motto, who stand up and use their voices and use their skills to make our community better. I hope you'll join me in watching the full program and seeing and hearing from the range of amazing talent and commitment we have in this community. Congratulations again to the Human Rights Commission for your hard work on this, and congratulations to all of today's award winners. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tyler Nelson, and this is my friend George Palmer, and we are here on behalf of Wakefield Troop 701 to welcome you to the Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King virtual celebration sponsored by Wakefield Human Rights Commission.
The theme this year is Our Lives Begin to End the Day That We Let Our Voices Fall Silent, a phrase often attributed to Dr. King in his speech in 1965, the day after Bloody Sunday, in which a group of civil rights protesters got beat by police. Dr. King said, "Deep down in our nonviolent creed is the conviction there are some things so dear, so precious, and so eternally true that they are worth dying for. And if a man happens to be 36 years old, as I happen to be, there is some great truth that stands before them, some great opportunity to stand up for what is right, regardless of personal consequence. Another man might be afraid that his home might get bombed, that he might lose his job, or get shot, or beaten by state troopers, and do nothing, and he may go on to live until he's 80. But he is just as dead at 36 as he would be at 80. The end of his breathing in his life is merely the late announcement of the death of his spirit."
A man dies when he refuses to stand up for that which is right. A man dies when he refuses to stand up for justice. A man dies when he refuses to stand up for that which is true. So we're going to stand up amid horses. We're going to stand up right here in Alabama amid the billy clubs. We're going to stand up right here in Alabama amid the police dogs, if they have them. We're going to stand up right here in Alabama amid the tear gas. We're going to stand up against anything they can muster, letting the world know that we are determined to be free.
On behalf of the Human Rights Commission, we would like to have you sit back and enjoy this year's program. And remember never to let your voices fall silent, because our community is depending on it.
Getting the spirit in the dark. I'm getting the spirit in the dark. Keep on moving, oh, you've been grooving. Just getting the spirit in the dark. You feel like keep on moving. Yeah, everybody's grooving. Just get in the spirit. Get in the spirit. How you get there in the dark? In the dark. It's like Sally Walker singing her salsa. That's how you do it. Now get on up to it. Ah,
Hi, I'm Yana Herzog. I am very honored to receive the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott King Service Award from the town of Wakefield's Human Rights Commission. I have always been inspired by the King's work to advocate for human rights, and I am so humbled to receive an award named for them. I joined the Youth Council in June of 2020, and soon after that, I became the Youth Council liaison to the Human Rights Commission. In that role, I created artwork celebrating inclusiveness and diversity that was displayed around Wakefield. Together with the Youth Council, we have continued to advocate for human rights issues such as retiring the Wakefield Warrior logo. We also have created volunteer projects to help our community. The Kings were tireless in their efforts to speak and advocate for the dignity of all human beings. They inspire me to continue their mission of love and compassion and working toward achieving a world where all people are accepted and valued for their differences. A world where there is no hatred, prejudice, or exclusion. A world where we all truly are one.
Hello, my name is Lauren Blois. I would like to express my gratitude for being selected as a youth recipient of the 2022 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott King Service Award. In addition to the King's legacy, my interest in advocacy and leadership stems from my inspiring teachers, school administrators, and human rights activists like Amanda Gorman and Malala Yousafzai. Our town and school leaders have provided youth in our community with many different opportunities to serve. In June of 2020, I was appointed to the Wakefield Youth Council and then selected to be vice chair by my peers. Then, in June of 2021, I was reappointed and honored to be chosen as chair. Together, we work to provide a youth perspective to the town council and other town boards. We've implemented youth initiatives throughout Wakefield, like providing mental health resources to our peers and their families, hosting a Veterans Day youth community cleanup in several areas around town, advocated for the school committee to retire the Warrior logo, and paired seniors with Wakefield youth to help shovel their walkways when it snows. I am so grateful to live in a community where adults are willing to give young people a voice and guide them to take strides to make positive changes. As Mrs. Scott King said, the greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassionate actions of its members. I hope that we can continue the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott King through uplifting one another and taking action where we see change is necessary. Thank you.
Jim Scott learned the value of always leaving your little corner of the world a better place for your having been there. This lesson learned at an early age has served him well. James Scott, 90 years old, was born on December 18, 1931, and was raised in Wakefield, Massachusetts. He attended St. Joseph's School and was a 1949 graduate of Wakefield High School. As a boy, young Jim saw 6 young men from his own neighborhood who he had grown up with, admiring, never returning from their tours of service in World War II. In his formative years, Jim lived through the ravages of the Depression and the depravities of wartime economy. These struggles allowed him to see how the community and families survived poverty and tragic loss by pulling together and helping each other. Growing up, he was not alone in having to work many jobs to help keep his family going. He developed insights with a strong work ethic that made him take a personal vow to forever serve others and to always look for ways to make the community and lives of others better. James, a veteran of the Korean War, served in the U.S. Navy from 1951 to 1954 as an aviation boatswain's mate with the 6th Fleet on the USS Palau CVE 122. His only brother, 22-year-old Sergeant Gerald F. Scott, had been declared a Korean War MIA a few years prior. Jim had already enlisted into the Navy when a student knock on the door at his parents' front door placed a telegram in his hand with gut-wrenching news. He was left to tell his parents that Gerald was missing in action. Even after receiving this devastating news, Jim was sure that joining the same war effort was the absolute right thing to do. While in the Navy, he sailed many areas of the globe, both the Panama and Suez Canal, throughout the Mediterranean and Asia. But with his lost brother Gerald in his heart, Jim's proudest mission during the Korean War was taking airplanes and military crew aboard the USS Palau and delivering them to Japan so they could join the other U.S. troops in Korea. This naval adventure off of the shores of the Korean War zone took place during early years that his brother was listed as missing in action. This was a heartfelt and emotional mission for Jim. His brother, Gerald, has yet to come home. After his naval service, Jim married the late Yvonne Scott from Lynn, Mass., who he met at Hill's Boat House and Dance Hall on the shores of Wakefield's Lake Quinnipiac. They are the parents of 6 children, 7 grandchildren, and 6 great-grandchildren. Jim and Yvonne were married for 60 years until Yvonne's death in 2016. Jim received his BA in History and Government from Northeastern University. For nearly 39 years, Jim was employed by the Wakefield Municipal Gas and Light Department. He worked his way up from groundman, lineman, foreman, and eventually to superintendent of the electric division. He was named to this position in 1980 and retired as electric division superintendent in 1989. In the late 1960s, while serving as the Grand Knight of the Wakefield KFC Council 104, Jim worked to bring different generations, religions, and other social groups across together during a time of both local and national unrest. Many Wakefield religious and social groups were not connecting and reaching out to give our youth something to do in ways that promoted peace, unity, fairness, and equality. This was something that concerned him. He wanted to bring area churches and other groups together and strive to be a part of the local solution to the troubled times. The 1960s drug culture and the agonizing Vietnam War had a huge effect on the culture of Wakefield. These local and national divisions became the reasons that led Jim to become even more involved in needing to make his corner of the world, the community of Wakefield, better. Jim served for 12 years as a member of the Board of Public Works. He became the director of the Wakefield's Youth Activities Commission and ran the Wakefield Youth Center from 1970 to 1981. He served as a member of the Board of Selectmen for 6 years and was an early supporter of former Governor Mike Dukakis. Governor Dukakis and Jim were both joggers and would often join together for races around Lake Quinnipiac. With the governor's assistance, Jim helped the town acquire from the state for public use the building now known as the Maricol Civic Center. With this outreach, the town was able to purchase the Maricol Civic Center building for $1. Originally an armory, the facility has been transformed into a vibrant, multi-purpose community center for all to enjoy. At one time, the town came close to selling the property. Jim spoke against selling. He is proud to see that it is now a huge source of community pride, serving as a community meeting place for hundreds of people each day. In 1984, Jim was awarded the Westside Social Club Citizen of the Year Award. Active in local politics, Jim was a longtime attendee and vocal participant at Wakefield town meetings. But most important to Jim was always open space. To that end, he is a longtime member of the Friends of Lake Quinnipiac and served as a board member. In his various roles in town, he is always tremendously proud of leaving as a part of his legacy public open space for all to enjoy. He worked tirelessly as an advocate for lakeside open space and is one of many who is responsible for the land acquired at the head of the lake, now known as the Gertrude Spalding Park. He participated in the development of another lakeside park when in the early 1980s, Jim saw to it that the town did not put condos adjacent to the common and fought to acquire the land by eminent domain that was adjacent to the town common. The park today is the much-loved Spalding Street Park. Due to his leadership and vision, families and people of all ages and nationalities can gather at these two parks and enjoy all that Wakefield offers. Jim has recently been recognized twice by the Friends of Lake Quannapowitt. In May of 2020, he was the recipient of the Friends of Lake Quannapowitt Gertrude Spalding Award. The award is given to an individual who has made an outstanding contribution toward protecting and enhancing the waters of Lake Quannapowitt and its surrounding lands. In May of 2021, Jim received a reward for his many years of outstanding service as a member of the board of directors for the Friends of Lake Quannapowitt. Noted was his tireless work for the lake and the leadership and form the Gertrude Spalding Parkland, as well as his assistance with FOLQ's school outreach program, such as the watershed, field trips, and lake cleanups. In the summer of 2020, James proudly accepted the Korean Ambassador for Peace Medal on behalf of both himself and his late brother, Gerald F. Scott, missing in action in Korea. Stated James, "My brother paid the ultimate price for his country. I want to recognize the heroism of my brother and all who have served and came home, as well as those who may never return home. I am so proud to see the country of South Korea is now thriving. This success is a result of the efforts of my brother and so many other Americans and allies. Modern South Korea is now seen as a real success story. These forces allowed the country of South Korea to rise from one of the poorest in the world to an economic powerhouse. The actions of those who served and those who lost changed the nation's future. We should all be proud of their collective efforts." In May of 2021, the Massachusetts Medal of Liberty was presented to Jim on behalf of his late brother, Sergeant Gerald F. Scott. The Medal of Liberty is awarded to the next of kin of servicemen and women from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts who were killed or missing in combat. In January of 2022, Jim was, and he is, the recipient of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott King Service Award for his efforts on behalf of his community, promoting the civil and human rights of all people.
The Wakefield Human Rights Commission unfortunately had to postpone their annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott King Day celebration this year. As a social distancing option, the WHRC encouraged anyone who could to contribute items to those in need, such as toiletries, socks, gloves, hats, and hand and feet warmers. The donations collected are going to be given to the Malden Warming Center and the Wakefield Police Station. Thank you to all who participated.